Hey everybody, welcome into this week's edition of the Top 5 from Spot On Fishing. I'm your host, Tony Krizek, and this week we're going to be talking about the top 5 summer baits on my all-time favorite lake to fish around the Chicagoland area, Lake Geneva. You're going to see all the baits we use to catch largemouth and smallmouth on my favorite body of water. The first thing we're going to talk about is a Dropshot rig. Now, a Dropshot rig, if you've never thrown one, I'll tell you what, probably one of the most versatile baits, finesse style baits we can throw. We run a small leader line off the back end of the hook attached by a swivel, and that's where the dropper weight's going to go. Usually about 3/16, quarter ounce is all you're going to need. And then on the other end we tie on, which is the line that'll go right back to your rod tip. We can throw it out, we can fish it shallow, we can fish it deep, we can fish it on weed edges, we can fish it on break lines. We can drag it, we can hop it, we can shake it. A lot of different presentations. Whoa, look at that, here's a little bonus fish. You're a little early, I haven't started to talk about spinnerbaits yet. It's always nice when we get a little bonus fish in the top 5. But the biggest thing we want to do when we're throwing a drop shot is downsize baits. You can do a finesse worm, or my personal favorite from Strike King, it's their half shell drop shot bait. Really mimics a lot of the forage that those fish are regularly eating out there on Lake Geneva. My favorite thing to do in the dog days of summer on Lake Geneva is throw big, deep diving crankbaits. Now there's a wide variety to choose from, and I do throw a wide variety myself. But my favorite one out there is from Bomber, the fat-free shad. Now when we're throwing these baits, to get the maximum depth out of those baits, we want to throw a long rod. Now my big cranking stick is 7'11", and this is going to allow us to have these long casts so we can achieve the most depth out of these baits. They're going to run 15, 18, maybe on a real long cast with fluorocarbon, we can get it down to 20 feet. But it's going to take a long cast to do it. Slow, steady retrieves on a low speed reel, 5.3 to 1, 5.1 to 1, or even the old school 4.7 to 1s. Slower retrieves get the baits deeper. We're going to be fishing anywhere from 15 feet of water to about 40 feet of water with these baits. Casting parallel with the breaks, off of points, and just open water casting as well. Keeping in that same mindset of the crankbaits, the next thing we're going to talk about is a Squarebill. Now I do prefer throwing a larger size Squarebill, a 2.5 size. The Strike King Squarebills are excellent baits. You can get them silent or with that one knocker rattle, and it's that one knocker rattle that really does good. Now, we're going to throw these more along the lines of shallower break lines or the deeper secondary weed flats on Lake Geneva. You know, and again, we can get 3 to 5 feet on these baits depending on how much line is out if we get a good long cast. Again, running at least a 7.76 crankbait rod, medium action for this style of bait. Fluorocarbon, again, can help get a little more depth out of it, but it's a great way to cover water and find those fish on the secondary flats. Now, if you get a cloudy, rainy day, or if you're out there fishing at night, one of my favorite things to do is throw topwaters on Lake Geneva. And the best one I have found is the Super Spook. Now you hear me talk about a lot of times on the show the Spook Junior or the regular Zara Spook, but I like throwing that big full-size Super Spook. It's got the 3 treble hooks to it and a big one knocker rattle. So even at night, if we're throwing it, we may not be able to see it, but we're going to hear that thing clunking away. And it really drives those fish crazy out there. Both the largemouth and the smallmouth absolutely love them. Lake Geneva, if you've never been there, is crystal clear water. I mean, you can see down 12, 15 feet at times. So you're going to want to actually throw that bait when you have cloudy conditions or, like I say, at nighttime, because it is amazing the fish calling powers that bait has out there. You will catch a ton of fish, and not only just the largemouth and smallmouth, but some pike too. Number 1 on this list, you probably already figured it out if you saw that little bonus fish earlier, a spinnerbait. Now I actually want to talk about two styles of spinnerbaits quickly. You heard me mention night fishing with the top water. Well, we night fish with spinnerbaits, and you can run like the KVD Night Stalkers, the Midnight Special from Strike King. Big Colorado blades give off a lot of thump, a lot of vibration. Black and blue, straight black. We can throw a nice silhouette and catch those fish at night. Once the sun's up, we'll go more to that standard regular tandem willow leaf and Colorado combo blade. Blue pearlescent colors, half ounce is usually very good out there. We can even sometimes run 3/8 if we're in shallower conditions. We can also fish a bigger, heavier version, 3/4 or 1 ounce size on the deep break lines out there. Again, a spinnerbait's the most versatile bait you have in your arsenal and can be worked at all levels of the water column. And that's why it's our #1 pick on Lake Geneva. Now there's a handful of baits out there that definitely did not make the list that everyone knows are bread and butter. But as you'll see, we'll be filming shows on Lake Geneva very soon, and you're gonna get to see some of these baits we talked about in action. But we wanna know if you're a Lake Geneva fisherman, what are some of the baits you're throwing out there? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing from everybody. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Tony Krizek. We'll see you next time on Tony's Spot On Fishing.